Okay, so here I'm just brushing on just some regular Vaseline, just putting on like a really sort of thin layer just to make sure that everything's coated, and to use that as a mold release. I then used a hairdryer to melt the Vaseline and then just make sure that it got into every single crack.
Stir part A and shake part B thoroughly before dispensing.
After mixing part A and B together, it's pretty self-explanatory what I'm doing here. I'm just sort of tapping the cup on the desk, just try and get any of those air bubbles to the top quicker because it's very viscous. So the more air bubbles you can take out, it's, good. Okay, I start off pouring just a thin layer of the silicone over the pieces of the mold, just like to make like a thin skin, just to allow any of the air bubbles that would be trapped to come to the surface. So that on the actual part that it is molding is without air bubbles, if that makes sense. So I just pour it on and then just let it sit for maybe about 5-10 minutes just to make sure that there's no air that gets trapped close, like right onto the pieces that are molding. And then I just repeat the process, sort of slowly adding more and more of the silicone, waiting a little bit, and then pouring some more once I feel like most of the bubbles have come out, although at this point it doesn't really matter. There's the first look at the mold, and as you can see, the details have been captured incredibly well. There's no air bubbles on the surface of the mold itself. So here was the first pour, just to make sure it came out the way that I liked, and to make sure that the details were captured well, and just really just to see how this mold functions. So again, just tapping the sides just to try and get any air bubbles to the top. And here is the exciting first look at the first pour using this mold, and as you can see, there were some issues that I had to fix, like the tail not filling up all the way. There was quite a significant amount of air bubbles as well, that again I just had to sort of figure that one out on my own, how to get rid of those. But as you can see, the details were captured incredibly nicely. Very, very pleased with the quality of this mold. So I solved the problems of the mold not filling up and there being too many air bubbles, added some lead and took it out for a test swim. And I wasn't very happy with the way that this swam, to be honest. I wasn't satisfied with it. There was too much lead in the head and it just sank head first, and I couldn't get it to swim the way that I wanted. So I tried it again using a different weight method, and it swam a little bit better, but not how I wanted just yet. So I had to sort of fine tune it and find the weight placement and amount that I So after I'd figured out the right amount of weight, where I wanted the weight, and the shape of the sort of wire harness that holds the weight in there, I finally achieved the swim that I was happy with, the one that I wanted. It took me a very long time to figure this out, which is why I haven't shown it, because I sort of want to keep that a secret, just because of how long it took me to figure that out. So when it came to the painting, I wasn't following a strict sort of image. Like I wasn't following a specific paint scheme. I just had looked at a lot of different reference photos and just sort of picked characteristics of different fish that I liked, and then just sort of went a bit random with the painting, I guess, and it came out pretty good. What I'm doing here is just with some silver in the airbrush, just sort of spraying over the top of the scales, like the flat part of the scales, just to highlight them and make them sort of pop a little bit more. And the effect this gave was very, very nice. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but in person it works very well. I wanted to have a go at painting a common carp, just to see how well it would come out really. So what I did was I started off with the fleshy sort of colour for underneath and around, for underneath the gills and sort of around the mouth. And then moved on to spraying the whole thing yellow ochre, just as like a base to start to paint over the top of. Then with the light olive, I believe the colour was, just then went ahead and sprayed over the top of that yellow ochre, following the gill details, making them slightly darker and slightly lighter in some places, just to sort of make it look natural, I guess, because they have sort of, there are some areas where there are highlights and lowlights, I guess it's called. I have to say, spraying light olive over the top of light olive over the top of yellow ochre, it did give a really nice sort of muddy, yellowy brown carp colour, which a lot of them sort of are if you have a look at them, which is very nice base. When the light hits the gold highlighting on the scales, it really does shimmer in a very, very nice way. It's kind of hard to see how well it actually works on camera again. So after the paint job, they received some eyes and a clear coat of epoxy before being put together, and just thought I'd show you just a swim test of the two that I painted in this video. As you can see, extremely nice, smooth, lazy action from these lures, and they all, because they are identical, they all swim in an identical fashion, which is why I felt the need to only show two. So here's that common that I painted. I have to say, with the clear coat, it looks phenomenal.